Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Sharice Johnson Moore, and I want to welcome you to Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast. Well, we have a special guest today, Mr. Dr. Barrett Matthews. He is the author of A Call to Action. And I have read this book. I have read some of the pages in the book, and I really want to share this book with my audience here. So welcome, Dr. Barrett, and how are you doing today?
Sharice, thank you. I am doing marvelously well and improving. How about yourself?
All right, blessed by the best, blessed by the
Right,
best.
all right.
Yeah, so Dr. Barrett, where do you reside and what brought you into the field that you are in today?
Well, I reside in Maryland, right outside of DC, between DC and Baltimore. That's where I
Hmm.
reside. And what got me into the field I'm in, and that's the media production. I actually started out as a media major in college. I went to Hampton University, and I majored in media.
Hmm.
You like that, huh? And
Yes.
I went to Hampton, and I majored in media, and I got out of school and started working in media. Worked as assistant director at a TV station, then moved up to New York, worked for the network at CBS Sports and production there.
Hmm.
And so I started out in two of the major markets working in the media. And eventually I ended up getting away from it, but I started getting into the business world.
Yes.
And no matter what I did in business, I was always doing something media related within it.
Hmm.
And after a while, I just said, okay, what am I hiding from? Let's go back to what you do. And that's how I got into what I'm doing now, but I'm doing it on my terms, not on a corporation's terms.
Yes. So how does that feel to own your own media company?
It feels wonderful. It feels wonderful. Like I said, I did the corporate game at CBS where I'm basically trading my time for dollars,
Hmm.
and I they had control.
Hmm.
Bottom line, they decided at one point they didn't want to keep me, and at that time, I didn't know what I wanted. I was kind of hurt, devastated. That was my dream job,
Yes.
and they decided to let me go.
Hmm.
And I was like, "What am I gonna do?" So, I actually found network marketing,
Okay.
and I was in a network marketing company, and that was my first venture into controlling my time, controlling my income.
Hmm.
Nobody could fire me, and I
Right.
said, "I like this."
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
when I said, "I like this," I said, "Okay." I became what I tell people, I am unemployable.
Okay.
Meaning that I couldn't even apply for a job for someone else. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that does,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I got to a point where if I'm applying for the job, I would stop myself and go, "Why am I trying to impress this person?
Right. Hmm.
Why am I
Yes.
taking control over me?" And I would say, "You know what? Just whatever you're doing, just put more effort into it and get better at it because you're not going back to doing that."
Right.
And I got so how do I like it now? I love it because I get to control things and I get to be creative. That's the main thing. We all have God. The first thing God did was He created, and He
Yes.
created us to be creative. So
Hmm.
I get to be creative, and I get to just use all the
Hmm.
imagination, all my mind, and just figure out different things and think of different ideas and concepts. So I love it. I mean, I can go long on and on with that answer because I love it.
Okay. So when did you decide to do it full time?
Well, I guess when I started doing it.
Right?
Well, but no, here's what I'm saying about that. Because when I was doing network marketing, keep in mind
Yeah.
that was in the '90s, in the early '90s.
Hmm.
I got to a point where I started doing that full time.
Uh-huh.
So I was already in a space to where I was working independently,
Yes.
doing full time. So after that, I did real estate appraisal. I was
Hmm.
full time. I was
Yeah.
still setting my own. So anything I did after that
Hmm.
business, but it was on my time. So I hadn't worked a job since early 1990.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Like a full job,
in,
yeah.
in the aspects of that, what made you become an author?
Well, it's funny you said that because I was always, like I said, I was a media major. I was always good at writing.
Hmm.
Writing was something I enjoyed doing, which is kind of funny because I wasn't an avid reader then, but I loved writing.
Yes.
I was really good at writing. And I remember one of my friends, he saw me working with a network marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of hard and rough on the people. He said, "Man, you ought to be some type of action coach, like a
Mm-hmm.
leader, a leadership action coach." He said, "People would pay for that, man." He
Yeah.
said, "I would pay for it." He said, "But you need to have a book."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, he said, "Yeah, you got to write a book." So I told him, I said, "I've never written a book before. I don't even know what to do."
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Well, just go ahead and just write out like an outline of like what
Mm.
chapters you're going to be about and everything."
Yes.
And so what's funny is that he said, "Doesn't have to be in any order." Well, the very next day, we were at an event
Mm-hmm.
supporting one of our friends who was doing an event, and we
Mm-hmm.
went to lunch. And I
Yeah.
told him, "Hey, I got that list together, those chapters." He
Yeah.
just starts laughing.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, "Why are you laughing?" He
Uh-huh.
said, "Because I just want to bet."
What?
Right. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What? What bet? What are you betting on? Who are you betting with? What is?" He
Right?
said, "I
Mm-hmm.
bet Keisha was one of our friends." He said, "I bet Keisha, but you would have that list done the very next day because that's
Mm-hmm.
how you do it." And I said, on one hand, it's good to know that people think that way about you, that you're going to do stuff.
Yes.
On
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, I don't get none of this money that you get. That's a
Right?
bet. But but like I said, so that book, that was my first book. It was called Why
Mm-hmm.
Didn't You Get It?
Yes.
It was on productivity and eliminating procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
So in that vein, especially after what he just said,
Right?
I wrote the book in six
Mm-hmm.
days. And
Mm-hmm.
as I tell you, on the seventh day, I rested. But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
but I did that book, and after that, and it was fun. It was it was a labor of love, but it was fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
People kept asking me about it, and so forth and so on. A couple years later, I did another book
Mm-hmm.
that was called 50 Shades of Wealth.
Okay.
And what I did, I interviewed some top business people that I know of,
Yes.
and I put all these interviews in a book to
Okay.
go over their commonalities and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third book I wrote, which we're talking about today, is a call to actions. And
Yes.
I'm working on books 4 and 5 right now.
Okay. All right. All right. So, this book, Call to Action, is about what?
It's
Mhm.
well, there's a gentleman who I know. His name is Dr. Clyde Rivers,
Yes.
and he has an organization called I Change Nations, where they promote civility around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I used to host a radio show, and he was a guest on there, but I'd never met him before. I
Mm-hmm.
went to a conference back in 2019 with a good friend of mine, Dr. Ruben West. He put on a conference called Black Belt Speakers, and Ruben's a speaker coach. So I went out there, and Dr. Rivers was there, so I got to meet him, and we hit it off instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And they were giving out all these awards to people, little did I know they were going to
Mm-hmm.
call my name for the award. And yeah, he gave me, and I didn't even know the magnitude of it, Sharice. I didn't realize this award was an international award. I didn't even know it.
Okay.
And they gave me two of them. And see, I was sitting next to a friend of mine. She said, "Yeah, we all knew we were getting recognized." And so when I got, she said, "Why didn't you tell me you were getting?" I said, "I didn't know."
Right? It's a surprise to me.
Yeah, totally
Mhm.
shocked. Well, Dr. Rivers and I talked some more. We had a great time talking. He said, "You ought to put out a press release." And I did, but I didn't push it because I still didn't get the magnitude of the awards that were given to me.
Uh-huh.
So a little while later, he was coming to DC.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay, where are you going to be?" He told me where. I met him at his hotel. He introduced me to some people. He was getting my head down to the Capitol to meet some people. And he
Yes.
said, "One thing I want you to do, Barrett, I'd like for you to write a book." I'm like, "Okay," I'm thinking I've written two already. That's cool.
Yeah.
He said, "I want you to write a book on execution." And I
Yes.
said, "Okay, I can do that." He said, "But I want you to do it about execution, but doing it with an international field, doing business in other areas of the world."
Yes.
Okay, I can do it. He said, "Man, you do that. I think we may even have an honorary doctorate in it for you." And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. And I was kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever. He
Uh,
goes,
uh,
you don't know who you're talking to, do you?" I'm
uh-huh.
like,
Mhm.
I guess not. So I wrote the book
Yes.
and pulled some stories that he had given me, some stories that Ruben had given me about doing business and overseas because they do a lot of work in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the book together. And I remember it was right around COVID was going on, was April 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking around the block getting some air. My phone ding,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a picture of a diploma, which you see on the wall here,
Okay.
for an honorary doctorate degree in humanities. Because, well, see, here's the thing. Here's the
Uh-huh.
thing. It says at the bottom is Dr. Clyde Rivers, Chancellor of a university. I didn't know that. Remember, he said you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah, right. Right.
I did not know that, and
Mm-hmm.
so that was able to get me an honorary doctorate. Then, a couple minutes later, as I'm still with my mouth hanging open, I get another thing on my phone where
Uh-huh.
he named a World Civility Ambassador with his organization, I Change Nations. So it's amazing how God works, because prior
Yeah.
to that conference I went to, I had prayed that God would use me to make an impact in the world.
Yes.
And so after that, he and I are working together closely.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a lot of different things. And he asked me if I would put together a podcast on civility,
Okay.
because that's his platform, World Civility.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to. He said he will get me guests for the podcast. I said, if you're going to get me guests, that makes it easier. So
Yes.
we were scheduled to have a call one day
Yeah.
about doing that. And he tells me, I got some great news for you. I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, that's cool. He goes, well, hold on one second. He put me on hold. He comes back and said, I have some really exciting news for you. I said, you went from great to really exciting. Now I'm
Right.
intrigued.
Yes.
He says, I just got some news that I'm going to be named a development king in the region of Ghana. I'm like, what? I'm going to know a king? And he
Right.
says, that's not it, Dr. Matthews. That's not it. And I'm like, what else? He says, I want you to be one of my royal advisors.
Uh,
Yeah,
yes.
I could have hit the.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, like I said, this was God using me,
Mm-hmm.
because I am officially royalty in that regard.
Yes.
And then there was an organization called the African Diasporan Union, called
Yes.
AFRIDU. They
Yes.
named the Diasporan King.
Mm-hmm.
So now he is a king. He can go all over the continent,
Okay. All right.
and he's like the first one, I believe, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Where he can go all over the Diasporan King.
Yes.
So I got this book, A Call to Action. On the back is him giving me the award.
Okay.
And but also, I'm working on a book right now with one of the other advisors about him.
Yes.
So, like I said, I'm working on 4 and 5. That would be 4 right there.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you ready to read your excerpt out of your book?
Yeah, I am ready to read my excerpt. This is from chapter 7, and it's called "Be Honest."
Mm-hmm.
And it says, you know, the question is, am I ready to start a business? The question is, do the people really want what I have to offer?
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what happens if it doesn't go the way I want it to go?
Mm-hmm.
Those are just a few of the questions that go through people's minds, but you have asked yourself these questions. Have you gotten to the mirror and asked yourself these questions? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
That excerpt, I pulled that out because a lot of people, when they're thinking about starting business, they always have, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
questions that really don't matter. The questions you should be asking is, are people going to buy what I have?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us, we want to market to people because we think we have something great,
Yes.
and they need it.
Yeah.
Are they going to buy it?
Mm-hmm.
Because people only going to buy what they want.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I tell people, if people bought what they needed,
Yeah.
McDonald's wouldn't exist. They go to nobody goes to McDonald's because they need McDonald's.
Right.
They go to McDonald's because they want McDonald's.
Yes.
And so that's the whole thing. In life, people buy what they want. Nobody needs a 14-bedroom mansion,
Right.
but they want it. That's why they buy it. Nobody needs a Lamborghini that can go 200 miles an hour. They get it because they want it.
Right.
So,
Because it looks good.
right. And then our ego, that's what we feed the ego. But the
Yes.
thing is, a lot of us, when we go into business, we want to sell something to people.
Yeah.
We ask the wrong question. We don't ask, like, even with the book.
Mm-hmm.
With the book, you write a book and we say, I want to tell my story.
Yeah.
Do people really want to hear your story?
Yeah.
Do they really want to know your story? Or did you just want to tell your story?
Okay.
and put it in the book. So the thing is, ask yourself, do people really want what I'm offering?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question you should have, because if it's something that they want, the
Yeah.
song goes, give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wrote that, pulled that excerpt out.
Okay. So, what would be your advice to someone that wants to start a business?
Why? That's the first. I'd ask that question. Why do you want to start a business?
Mm-hmm.
Because your why should be bigger than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have to actually, because don't just start a business because you're tired of your job.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just start a business because you're good at something.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You could be good at being a plumber. That doesn't mean you should start a plumbing business.
Right.
Because if you don't know how to run the business and to make it grow and scale and so forth, then
Mm-hmm.
you'll work in a job in a minute because you won't be able to run it.
Yeah.
So
You won't be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you need to ask yourself why you're starting a business. So the one thing I would say, if you want to start a business, learn some business skills.
Mm-hmm.
Learn sales.
Mm-hmm. Marketing and advertising.
Well, sales. Learn
Yeah.
sales.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say sales is because a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like sales." One, if you don't like sales, you're not going to be good in business. But
Right.
the other thing is that everything is sales. Everything that you own is because someone sold something.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Everything you own is because somebody sold something. The other thing about it, if you say you don't like sales, I'm going to tell y'all this, you're lying. You're lying. There's not a soul on earth. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, have you sold something in your life?
Yes.
Did you hate it when you sold it?
No.
You
No.
liked it, right?
I love it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nobody has made a sale that says, I hate it. So you don't hate sales.
Yeah.
You don't hate sales. What you may hate is rejection.
Yeah.
So, but that means you have to learn the skills of sales.
Yes.
And another thing that I learned from one of my coaches is that I used to hate rejection too, but I
Yeah.
learned now, don't get attached to the outcome.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Don't get attached to, see, your job is to offer whatever it is that you have.
Yes.
Offer the best way possible to make
Mm-hmm.
it so that you can persuade them, not convince them,
Mm-hmm.
persuade them to do business
Yes.
with you.
Yes.
And if they say yes, if they say no, it doesn't matter because
Mm-hmm.
you've done your job. As
Yes.
long as you've done your job, you just move on to the next one.
I know, right?
But don't, right, just don't get attached. That's the
Yeah.
problem. People then they get dejected. No, I want to quit. No,
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about it. Just move on to the next one.
Yeah. Cause
But
my
that's
grandma, yeah,
you
my grandma would say, if one won't, the other one will.
got that right. So especially some will,
Won't.
some so
Mm-hmm.
what next?
Yep. 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 So, what would your advice be to aspiring authors?
Ooh, um, I hate to say it like this, but learn how to speak.
Yes.
And I say this because I've edited projects before for people,
Mm-hmm.
and I realize they don't know English.
Ooh, that ain't good.
I remember saying to someone before after I editing, I said, "Can you mind if I coach you a little bit?" They said, "Please, please." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "I want you." I said, "Are you planning on doing another book?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I would love it if you would take an English class." And she said, "Oh, you mean like writing and literature?" I said, "No, no, English, just English." I said, "Because there were times I couldn't tell if we were in the present, we were in the future, in the past, because your tense, your verb tense was so off. I didn't know where we were,
Mm-hmm.
and English, basic English stuff, and it's stuff like that that I did not get. And when you're writing, people need to be where you are
Yes.
if you're an author. So that's one thing I would say to them. The other thing is, do not write a book because you want to make a lot of money.
It's funny
Most
you say that. It's funny you say that.
because
'Cause-
most
yes.
most books don't make money. Most books don't make money. I remember when I wrote my first book, a guy asked me why I wanted to do it. I said, I just wanted to get this message out to people because I hear people asking me stuff and I wanted to put it in a book for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I just wanted to make sure you didn't say because you wanted to make money with it, because most
Right.
authors don't make money. Another thing is get someone good to edit your book,
Yes.
get someone to lay out your book. And what I mean by layout is make sure that the
Format.
pages in your book pop. Like, for instance, if you look here, this is the change in my chapters here. You see
Mm-hmm.
how it's a little different, how
Mm-hmm.
it stands out a little different,
Yes.
because I wanted to stand out there because it's the change in the chapters. That's the layout of the book. They
Yeah.
don't all run together. Make sure that when people look at the pages of your book, it
Uh-huh.
pops at them.
Okay.
And lastly, your cover. Well, not lastly, that's second to last. Your cover.
Mm-hmm.
Cover needs to catch their eyes.
Yes.
Cover needs to catch their eyes. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the last one is when you're titling the book,
Mm-hmm.
make it a title that grabs attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, someone, David Gruder, Dr. David Gruder, he taught me this. He said, your title
Mm-hmm.
should catch their attention enough to make them want to read the subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
The subtitle is what tells them what the book is about.
Yes.
The subtitle should be intriguing enough to make them want to turn the book over.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's when they make the decision on whether they want to buy it or not.
Okay.
So your title leads them to the subtitle. So the title needs to get their attention. That's mine is a call to action.
Yes.
Then it tells them what it's about. Keys to executing international in an international business world. That's the subtitle.
Yes.
Then that should make them want to turn the book over on
Mm-hmm.
it. So that tells them more about me and what the book is about as well. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, you want to make sure that you can do those things and keep their attention, because you want to make it so they want more. My first book, Why Didn't You Get It Done? I
Mm-hmm.
remember the day after I got all my books printed, I went to a book fair and I had
Yeah.
my books on the table, and this lady, she was just staring at it going,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, it's calling my name."
Uh-huh.
And I still didn't buy it. But but the thing is, I I wanted to call your name. That's what I wanted the book to grab her attention.
Yes.
So that's what I say to everybody. Your book should be able to grab their attention from the title.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have gotten some really good information for authors on today's show. Dr. Barrett, where can our audience find you?
MediaBossPro.com. www.mediabosspro.com. That's my website where I work with business owners who are high level and showing them how to use media to make themselves industry icons.
Okay.
And we do a lot of media production for them in doing that. So MediaBossPro.com. You can also find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, all that. So you can find me there as well.
Yes. All right. I know it has been a marvelous day. It has been a marvelous interview. I thank you for coming
Thank
on
you.
today. And when you write your next book, please come back and share it with us. Please come
Almost
back and
definitely.
share it with us. We would love to have you here. And I wanted to say you can find Dr. Barrett on Twitter. I'm putting this link up at the our ticker table on the bottom of the screen. We can find him on Twitter. We can find him on LinkedIn. We can find him on Instagram. We can find him on Instagram, and he also has an author's page on Amazon. You can find his book on Amazon in paperback and in Kindle Unlimited. So you can find all of his books. And like I said, if you want to reach out to him, you can go and check out his the website he has and the website and his email if you really want to get in contact with him to help you with your professional presence in media, right? So I want to thank Dr. Barrett Matthews for coming today, and
Appreciate
you have a blessed day, okay, Dr. Barrett?
you
Oh,
too. Thank you so much.
oh, you're welcome, and you have a blessed day, all right?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. We have let's see. Oh, we have had our interview for the day, and if you're interested in being on Authors Excerpt Sunday, Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast, it would behoove you to reach out to me to, I have a website here, and I wanted to let y'all know that it is important that you come and be on the show. Come and be a guest on Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast. It is very important that I share all the authors I know with you. If you're an author and you are looking to bring exposure to your book, come and be a guest on our show. You can reach out to me through my website. It is under my name on the website listing. And I wanted to have y'all come in and tell people. You got to tell people about your book. You can't just say, okay, well, I got a book. Here it is. All right. No, we want you to come and share your book with us in the utmost way, where you can come on Authors Extra Sunday Live. You can come on Authors Extra Sunday Podcast, or you can come on Authors Extra Sunday Clubhouse. Also have a room there on Clubhouse for Authors Extra Sunday. I wanted to thank everyone for coming out. And if you would like to send me your information, you can do so here at my email, snjm at ShariceNJohnsonMoore.com, and reach out to me so you can have, you can get your, tell me what your story is about. Tell me what your book is about. And we can set up something that, that will be, bring your exposure to your book. All right. And I love you. And thank you for coming in today for Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast. And our guest today was Dr. Barrett Matthews. I want to say thank you, everyone. And you have a blessed day. All right. Now, come on. Let's tell the world about your book.